Welcome back to the Ignore the Tablet podcast, the only FPL podcast on the entire internet, hosted by me. My name is Devin, and we are back, I suppose, after an absolute horrible Gameweek 34 free hit, blank game week. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and yeah, it sucks. So we're going to talk about that. But before we jump into the podcast, I wanted to give a couple updates. I think I'm going to scale back to just one podcast per week. I apologize if that is disappointing, although I doubt it is. Y'all are probably glad to be rid of me. You're like, oh, this freaking piece of shit coming up into my subscriptions once again. But no, just gonna scale back to one a week, because if I'm completely honest, I looked ahead, FPL is winding down, and I think I'm just gonna struggle to make anything interesting out of the next 4 or 5 game weeks. I like to think I bring a different perspective to FPL. It's the whole reason I started making a channel or a podcast. And yeah, I just don't think with how FPL is set up, the pricing, you can afford every single player. There's no interesting decisions. It's not like, wow, I'm chasing rank, let's sell Bruno Fernandes so I can then buy Haaland or something like that, or selling Haaland to buy Bruno. Everyone can afford all of them. So it really kind of breaks that decision making process. So as you'll see, a lot of the content that I'm probably going to put out, I'm going to be trying my best, but the decisions are going to be very, very straightforward, I think, from here until the end of the season. We do have a double game week that is announced, but I just feel like it's probably the most uninteresting double game week out there. I don't think anybody should break their back to bring Crystal Palace players in. Everyone already has 3 Man City players. So that's it. That's like basically the only interesting decision you can make over the course of the rest of the season. So without further ado and more doom and gloom, let's jump into the episode and look at how poorly it went for me, because it was bad. Probably one of the worst weeks I had in the entire season. So if you will remember, played my free hit, probably one of the most powerful chips in the game when there's a blank game week. Not only did I not get a green arrow, I got a 15-point red arrow. So while people are taking hits to field a full 11 of players, and they're just stumbling along from previous weeks, I had the optimal chip for a blank game week, and I got a 15-point red arrow. Just had to let that sink in. So let's see how it came to that. And yeah, it was just an absolute shit show, comedy of errors. My differentials, may you ask? Mohamed Salah, who I captained, he got a 1-pointer and came off injured. That is going to be a theme that you'll see throughout my free hit team, which sometimes you just have to hold up your hands and say, what am I supposed to do? All these players are getting injured. It would obviously be better if they finished the game, but absolutely stunk. The other differential I had, Robin Roofs, 0-pointer. Unbelievable. I'd be surprised if Sunderland had conceded more than 2 goals on a handful of occasions, and they get stumped by 4 goals. Of course, from Nottingham Forest, who have been one of the worst offensive teams in the entire league this season. Under Vitor Pereira, they've been looking better. So maybe I under-indexed on that. But yeah, especially at home, Sunderland are a very different team, but they were horrible. Robin Roofs might as well have just taken a nap the entire game. I think the XG was pretty damning too. I don't know how to explain this, but they scored 5 or what was it? 5 or 4 goals. Oh no, I need to retake this whole section. I'm stupid. Okay, so let's start with how I did in game week 34, blank game week 34. And if we track back to last week, I played my free hit, which is probably it's not the most powerful chip in the entire game. I think that would be the wild card, but in a single game week, specifically for a blank game week, the free hit I think is the most powerful chip. Not only did I not get a green arrow, not only did I not improve my rank, I got a 15-point red arrow. Probably one of the worst red arrows I've had the entire season. Now I'm outside the 50k purgatory, but I'm in the 75k purgatory, and I'm 14 points away from 50k. Absolute stinker. Let's share my screen. Why not? Let's make this a professional podcast YouTube channel. So I'm on live FPL. We can see I got the 15-point red arrow. I'm 14 points away from 50k. Now let's review the differentials. Let's start there. Mohamed Salah was my captain. I was thinking, you know what? Playing at Anfield, probably one of his last Anfield appearances. Definitely, almost certainly one of his last Anfield appearances now, because he was injured. He got injured at the 50th minute or something like that. So 1 pointer, didn't do anything, absolutely rotten. I thought that was a pretty good edge compared to Bruno Fernandes, who didn't end up really doing much anyways, but it was, bad against worse in this scenario. And yeah, it was just, I don't think it was a bad decision. I think it was more of a bad outcome. Maybe I was playing it too risky, but I don't know. I don't buy into that. I think I was very unlucky with a lot of the injuries, because once we get past Mohamed Salah's injury, that will be a common theme throughout my free hit experience. We'll just say that. But before we go there, my other differential was Robin Roofs, who got absolutely thumped by Nottingham Forest. And this I really don't quite know how to explain, other than the fact that Robin Roofs might have not been on the pitch at all. Nottingham Forest scored 5 goals from, was it 5 goals or was it 4? I think it was 5, right? Yeah, 5 goals. I'm looking at the stats now. From 6 shots on target. Robin Roofs made 1 save. Out of the entire game, he made 1 save. This is a guy who's been one of the standout goalkeepers in the entire league this season. One of the highest scoring FPL assets, despite being injured for a chunk. And he might as well not have shown up. The XG was also really low as well. The XG was 1.10, and Nottingham Forest were able to score 5. So again, I think hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I should have had David Raya. He got 10 points, but that was a good differential, and it just did absolutely nothing for me. So yeah, so sometimes it's just going to be like that. FPL is just sometimes like that, and you hope that over the course of the season you have more good luck than bad. I think in the grand scheme of things, I've probably had more bad luck than good this season. A lot of injuries. I don't think I've ever had this amount of injuries in FPL, and I've specifically stayed away from like injury prone players. So even with that, I've had some of the worst injury luck I've ever had in my FPL career. But yeah, that's a rant for another day. Those were my only 2 differentials, which on a free hit, I was kind of surprised. But I guess some of the other guys I went with were just, a lot of people played free hit, supposedly. The threats to my rank, on the other hand, weren't really that bad in the grand scheme of things. Bruno Fernandes had 5 points. David Raya had 10 points, which I think is probably a bit flattering. And one of my theories about Arsenal completely proven false. So one of my thought processes was that Arsenal really need to go for goals. They can't just rely on Man City dropping points. They need to go for the title. We haven't seen that at all. They were basically, once they scored the goal, it was nervy and boring basically the entire match until the whistle blew. So Raya with a 10-pointer, I think a little lucky there, but yeah, it is what it is. I think he was generally a decent pick, but yeah, I didn't go there, so I didn't get the 10 points. The other threats did nothing. Watkins, the 2-pointer, Wilson, 2-pointer. That was kind of what I had expected. And then looking across the full team, I got 44 points, and to get there, I had 0 from Robin Roofs. Gabriel got 8. Maybe I should have captained Gabriel in hindsight. Maybe that was like the other differential captain that I could have gone for, but I knew this was going to be my last opportunity to captain Salah, and I just went for it, so it didn't do me any good. So 8 points from Gabriel, 8 points from Pedro Porro, 4 points from Virgil van Dijk, 5 from Bruno, 2 from Salah because I captained him, 3 from Xavi Simons, who also got injured. Declan Rice, 2 points, did nothing. Bowen with a 10-pointer. Solanke injured, 1 point. Thiago, 1 point because of a yellow card. And I think there was another injury as well. I feel like I'm missing out on that, but thank God nobody got benched, because my bench was Mukiele first on the bench, 0 points. Then Dan Ballard, 0 points. And then followed by Dewsbury Hall with 8. Hermansen got 2 points, which I guess I maybe should have started Hermansen over Roos. But yeah, the whole free hit was just catastrophic. Injuries across the board. What are you going to do? Sometimes FPL just wants to spit in your face, and that's basically what happened. So I don't think I have anything else to contribute about Game Week 34. It was just an absolute shit show. Glad it's over, and we can move on to Game Week 35. So here is my team for Game Week 35, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm just not going to put a lot of thought into it. I don't think there's any transfers that are desperately needed in this team. I think the team looks pretty good. I wildcarded in Game Week 32. So the team is pretty well set up. I had basically planned for this. My starting lineup for 35 is as such, and there's probably players I could bring off the bench and put them in the starting 11, but I just don't think there's a whole lot in it. So any decision I make will probably be the wrong one. So I'm just going to put this out here. I may make some changes before the deadline, but if I do, just assume it's going to be an incorrect decision. But in goal, I'm going to start with Petrovic instead of Verbruggen. Verbruggen would be on the bench for me. So Petrovic, Struijk against Burnley, Gabriel against Fulham, Senesi against Crystal Palace. In the midfield, Semenyo against Everton, Palmer against Nottingham Forest, Aronson against Burnley, Bruno Fernandes against Liverpool. Probably going to captain Haaland, but maybe it would be more fun for me if I just went differential for the sake of it, despite the fact that I think Haaland is the best captaincy choice. But at the moment, Haaland is captain against Everton away, Calvert-Lewin against Burnley at home, João Pedro against Nottingham Forest at home. And also on the bench, Gehi against Everton, Tavernier against Crystal Palace, and Van Hecke against Newcastle. So that was kind of my gut reaction to the team, of like what I had and how to put them on the pitch. I think that's fine. I just, if there's a player I'm desperately lacking, I'm not saying it. So this is the team. I think the bench is pretty good. I'm just going to roll a transfer. I think that's probably for the best. And yeah, let's talk about Wild Card 35, because that's probably the last interesting thing that we can talk about from here to the rest of the season. I know some people still have their wild card, so let me put together a wild card for Gameweek 35, and we'll be back in a sec. Before jumping into the team I put together, I thought it would be good just to do a quick check on the fixtures. So fixture difficulty rating, and get a kind of landscape of who has some of the easiest fixtures, teams to target. We have such a small window of fixtures, 35 through 38. It's such a small window. If you're on a wild card, you're going to want to target the best fixtures, the teams with the best fixtures, and try to minimize the players who have some of the worst. So I'm currently on fantasyfootballhub.co.uk looking at their FDR rankings, and I definitely have my own opinions on it, and I have my own calculations, but I'm having some issues with my code right now. I'm trying to fix it while I'm podcasting, which probably isn't the best, but yeah, we're going to rely on this just for a sec. And at the top of the list, so the team with the easiest fixtures, Man City, not really a surprise. They've got a double game week and their fixtures are generally pretty easy. Followed by Arsenal in second place, followed by Wolves, who I think do have pretty easy fixtures, but we are not going to be targeting them. We're not going to get any Wolves players. A Wolves player is not going to come into any consideration in a wildcard 35 team. After that is Leeds, and I think there is some cause to potentially target one or two of their players. Calvert-Lewin, I think, is a good option. Pascal Struijk is a good option, but some of these fixtures I think are going to be a lot more difficult than this difficulty rating website is giving them. So it's saying Tottenham away is fairly difficult, and I think I would agree with that. Contextually, under De Zerbi, who's only had 2 matches in charge, they are starting to look a little bit better. Brighton at home, I think, is fairly easy. Wolves away on the last day, I think, is going to be very difficult for any team. I think Wolves are looking. Wolves. Did I say Wolves? West Ham. West Ham have looked really good under Nuno, and they are just a very difficult team to beat at the moment. I would not be targeting West Ham away. Definitely not on the last day of the season. After Leeds, though, it's Crystal Palace, and it's probably mostly because of their double game week, although yeah, I think generally speaking, their fixtures are pretty decent. City away in the double is not ideal, and Arsenal at home is not ideal, but I think Brentford away is not bad. Bournemouth away is not bad for a team like Crystal Palace. So I would probably bring in 2, maybe 3 Crystal Palace players if you're feeling extra risky on the wild card. But yeah, no need to break your back bringing players in from Crystal Palace. I think, yeah, if you want to bring in 1 or 2, makes sense, but otherwise you can probably just avoid it. This double game week is so underwhelming. In 6th place, we've got Newcastle, who play Brighton at home, Forest away. That's not going to be easy. West Ham at home. That's not going to be easy. And Fulham away. Probably one of the most challenging fixtures in the entire list. Yeah, I would not be targeting Newcastle. I think they've got one of the most difficult fixtures across the entire league. So probably wouldn't be targeting them. Sunderland, they've got Wolves away, Manchester United at home, Everton away, Chelsea at home. I think that's pretty middling. Potentially a Roofs if he can wake the hell up. But otherwise, maybe a Mukiele shout as a bench option. Because I think Everton away is not bad. Manchester United at home and Chelsea at home, okay. But again, I think it's middling apart from this Wolves fixture. In 8th place, and I promise I won't go through all of them, I'm just going to go through the top 10. In 8th place, we've got Brighton, they've got Newcastle away, Wolves at home, Leeds away, Manchester United at home. Pretty good outside of Leeds away, if I'm completely honest. I think Newcastle away is maybe on par with Leeds away, but Wolves at home and Manchester United at home, those are good. Aston Villa, they've got 2 relatively easy fixtures, 2 relatively difficult ones. So they've Tottenham at home, Burnley away, Liverpool at home, then Man City away. Probably would not be targeting Villa. And then in 10th place, Burnley, which if you don't have Dubravka, you probably are not going to bring in any other Burnley players. They've got Leeds away, Villa at home, Arsenal away, Wolves at home. Final day of the season. Popular other picks, Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United in 13th. I think these fixtures are probably a lot better than they look on paper, at least on this website. Who else? Chelsea, I think, have much better fixtures than this website's giving them credit for as well. Forest at home, Liverpool away, Tottenham at home, Sunderland away. So Chelsea could be something to target. Brentford, yeah, those are tough. Yeah, that's probably it. So, and honestly, Fulham, not so bad. So Fulham have Arsenal away, not good. Bournemouth at home, Wolves away, Newcastle home. All those final three are really good. So yeah, mostly disagree with this website, but you get where I'm coming from. I think it's generally fine. We want to be targeting Man City, Arsenal, a little bit of Leeds, a little bit of Palace, a little bit of Brighton, a little bit of Chelsea. We're going to have Bruno, and then just fill in the rest, basically, with players you pick out of a hat. Who knows who's going to do well. If I sound cynical, I'm sorry. Last week just absolutely broke me. To go from getting a 0-point green arrow on a bench boost, which had several double game week players, to getting a 15-point red arrow on a free hit in a blank, it's just demoralizing. So I'll shut up. Let's put together a team based on some of this info. Yeah. And here's what I came up with, which I am gagging because this is like the world's most boring wild card team, but I think a lot of it just picks itself. So if you want to target that double game week fixture, I've got 3 Crystal Palace players. All of them are on the bench for game week 35, which I think is fair. They played Bournemouth away. Could be fine, but I think there's better players on the pitch. So 3 Crystal Palace, 3 Man City, 3... Oh no, I only have 2 Arsenal players. Probably could change that. I think Arsenal have good fixtures. Throw in another defender. I don't know who I would swap out and who would be affordable, because this team is slightly affordable. I've only got 0.2 million in the bank, but yeah, you could probably make something work. Bring in like a Saliba or a Hincapié, who I think should all be pretty nailed for minutes. Okay, let's run through the team. Robin Roos in goal. Maybe you swap him out for Raya, but again, we gotta like make some money because there's a little strapped for cash, which is not the point. If anybody is saying that, oh, you can't just afford everybody, this is with a bench that is absolutely stacked out. I've got Munoz on the bench, who's almost 6 million, Sarr, who's 6.3 million, Senesi 5 million, and Henderson 5.1 million. You should not be able to afford basically every player in the entire game, and on top of that have an entirely stacked bench. You should have to make some sacrifices somewhere. So okay, running through the team again before I get distracted. Robin Roofs in goal. I think they've got favorable fixtures for the next 3. Gabriel, O'Reilly, Struick, Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Cherky, Rogers, Thiago, Holland, Calvert-Lewin, and then on the bench, Henderson, Senesi, Munoz, and Sarr. That's what I'm going with. You could probably make some change. Like a Rogers, I only picked him because I think the next 2 fixtures are pretty favorable, and then you could sell him to somebody who's probably better, honestly. But yeah, there's just so many different directions you can go with this team. Although at the same time, there's really not that many, because you're switching between probably the same 4 or 5 Man City players and the same 3 or 4 Arsenal players. It's really that just these players on the fringes, because you can afford everybody else. It's really just these players that can only make it. The only place you can make a difference is on these fringes. So yeah, the game's gone, guys. The game is gone. So this is the wild card team. Let me know what you think. Again, it's wildly uninteresting, and I apologize, but I just think we're at the point in the season where there is a double game week, which is relatively interesting, but it's a really boring double game week. Is it worse than that one that Arsenal had with Wolves? I'm not entirely sure. Probably. But yeah, this is the team I would probably go for if I was on a wild card, but I probably haven't thought about this as much as you have. So again, apologize that it's a bit boring, but there's just not a lot of interesting picks, unfortunately. And we're going to wrap the pod with going through the scout versus scout competition, which I do every single week. I will maintain it through the remainder of the season, despite scaling back to 1 podcast per week. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty sure that I lost against the official FPL scout. I cannot find the official FPL scout team anywhere. So I usually just look back on Reddit and scroll back, but I scrolled back, couldn't find the team. My scout team did horribly because it was the exact same team as mine, and my team got 44 points. I'm just going to imagine that the official FPL scout team beat me this week, which is a good bet. So that means that because my team lost to the official FPL scout, then the mini league leader of Gameweek 34 gets a cash prize of $10, and the winner is Harris Talick. And their team name, I'm not going to even try to pronounce. Cheliknim Gradam. Harris Talick, come on down. Claim your prize. You got 74 points, even with captaining Xavi, who got injured. Crazy. Oh, yeah, Solanke was the other player who got injured for me. But yeah, 74 points. So just to run through who he chose and why he's so much better at FPL than me. He had Gibbs White, which makes sense. Mavropanos. Dewsbury Hall was on the pitch. And those were the only other differences. You had Roofs, Mukiele, and Thiago on the bench. Bastard. But yeah, 74 points. You are a better FPL player than me. And yeah, congrats. Come on down. Hit me up on Discord. We'll arrange the prize money. And let's take a peek at what my scout team is for this week. And I'm going to do my best to at least record what the opponent is so that I can accurately get this competition rolling. So what is the team I'm looking at for free hit in Gameweek 35? And despite Sunderland absolutely shitting the bed, this is the team I'm going to put forward. I'm not overly convinced about it. Is Saka even going to play? Probably not, but here's the team I'm going with. In goal, Robin Roofs, who I've been saying a lot this episode for all the wrong reasons. Robin Roofs, Gabriel, Struick, Mukiele, Dan Ballard, Saliba, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Semenyo, Holland, Calvert-Lewin. Captaining Holland for this team. On the bench, Hermansen, Thiago, Tavernier, Aronson, because I couldn't be fussed to change the team. But there is money in the bank. Only 3 players per each team, so the team is legit. Let's see how it does. 5 defenders? How could I go wrong? But yeah, I don't have any strong feelings about this week. You know, we've got Leeds playing Burnley. We've got Sunderland playing Wolves. Those are the 2 targetable fixtures, and I've got 5 players for those teams. So let me know what you think. Let's kick it to the outro and wrap this absolutely terrible podcast up. Yeah, apologies. Not my best, but FPL destroyed me this week, so I have an excuse. let's put this podcast out of its misery. So I will be back ahead of Game Week 36 deadline with another podcast. But again, it's just going to be the one podcast per week. As we've seen in this podcast, I'm like struggling to come up with things to talk about because it's just, this is the most uninteresting time in FPL, unfortunately, and there are just no decisions to make. So we're in this predicament. We're going to ride out the season, one podcast per week. I am kind of tempted to do another Liverpool special episode and talk about potential transfer targets I think Liverpool should be looking at, not ones I think that they'll go for, but transfer targets they should be looking at. And apart from that, we're just going to keep FPL rolling until the end of the season. I'm going to come out with another how to fix FPL episode, which I don't think it went over very well last year, but I have a few more ideas for how to improve FPL, and that's another special episode that I'm going to try to put it out before the end of the season. I think after the end of the season, everyone is like last day of school, like they're throwing the books and the papers up, they're out, like they're not concerned about FPL anymore. So I'm going to try to do it before the end of the season, but it may prove to be difficult. We'll see. So stay tuned on Discord for all that good news. If you're looking for any announcements, hit me up, and I'll see you next week for the Game Week 36 deadline.